And here I was, ready to be all excited about returning to our hardcore world. Came over to this little peninsula, started laying out the land. We've got some great clay here. I found some copper nearby. Set down a little hut, which, by the way, if you put down these the raw grass blocks there, they will eventually turn into thatch. And so it's a little quicker than using the drying mat, but it's not timed, so it's kind of random. Anyway, going around looking for hardened stone so I can make myself a new shovel. And I'm dinner. So we made it 5 days. That's about how far I made it last time. So I guess it's time to start over yet again. Which is a shame because this was a really good start. So hello there. Welcome back to TerraFirmaCraft Hardrock. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we jump back in, there was a question about how to get the TerraFirmaCraft health bar as opposed to the Minecraft hearts. And so from the main menu here, if you click on the create goggles, it brings up the create configuration menu. You want to click configure, then access configs of other mods. Search for TFC, and you want to find just here, TerraFirmaCraft. Click that, go to client side, display, and enable health bar. You want to click this to be a check mark. It should be an X for you. When you do that, save changes, go back, and when you load into the game, you should have a health bar as opposed to hearts. Okay, so let's try this a fourth time, because the first 3 times were not at all disappointing. Hardcore. Hardrock take 4. Random seed. No changes. Let's load in. I'm not going to bore you with watching the early game again. I did that enough last time. So I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to run around. Hopefully get back to where we were roughly fairly quickly without dying again. I'll bring you back in if something does happen. And yeah. Well, okay. Let's just see where we load up first. Oh, and so I did get asked this question. Why did I ditch the books at the beginning of the game? Most of them can be crafted. One of them is accessible through a hotkey, and they waste inventory slots, which are vital at the beginning of the game, so there's no point in having them. Hot springs. That's nice. That'll heal me. We've got chert. We've got a ruin or a structure right there. And what's our climate? -2. Far too cold. And we've got a bit of trees over there. Oh, and there was apparently clay right next to me when I initially said I couldn't find clay last time. It's because I didn't realize the clay that was right next to me was the flower that shows that it's clay. I didn't recognize it. There's actually copper right here. But I can't mine any of that. And that's... Do I have zoom mod? No zoom mod. That's iron. Oh wow, there's copper and iron right in the wall here. But we need to find clay and yeah. Get started once again. There are like 4 different flowers that show where clay is. And once you know what the flowers look like, you can figure out where the clay is pretty quickly. We do have some hardened stone right here. So I might just make myself some quick tools before we keep looking for clay. And that may have been a bad idea because now we're already at a third of our health. A third of our water. There's a volcano right over there. That's kind of cool. And I found clay almost immediately after I stopped recording. So, there's that. This is one of them. Perovoska. You find that, it means there's clay nearby. Well, underneath. And just to show you, the raw plant fiber block turns into a thatch block, which you can pick up with your hand and toss in crafting grid to turn it into straw, which we could then use to put straw in our pit kiln. And as soon as that's done, I can make my stone hammer and get our get the firewood going. And then we can get this first pit kiln going nice and quick. And I did get lucky. Drank from that twice, didn't get sick. Well, day 3. So far, so good. We have a bit of copper and a bit of bismuth that I've found during our journeys. I've marked most of it on the map. Bismuth up here, copper there. There's some exposed copper veins. I don't know if we're going to come back for this since we are still traveling south. Average temperature is up to 2. So that's good. Because, you know, up here it was -2. So we've traveled 800 blocks south and it's increased by 2 degrees. Sorry, 4 degrees. So that's not that bad. But just boiling up some more water so we can continue on further south. I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is dig a pit kiln and make up some more clay. So we can make another jug because, yeah, that jug just broke on us. And I thought I saw clay around here so I don't have to dip into my supply. Nah, doesn't matter. I have never been so jumpy in Minecraft before than seeing a deer on the horizon. I am specifically avoiding forests. And going high ground to high ground to try to keep my field of view open. Let's see, how far have we traveled? Pretty far. This is where I was when we last recorded. That's 400 blocks. That's okay, it's not that far. But we are up to 4 degrees average temperature. So we are getting better. I haven't really found an area that I like that well yet, though. Sanity is getting a little low, though, but it's about to be daytime. So, you know, sun's rising. That will help. That's beautiful, though. Nope, there are wolves over that way, so we don't necessarily want to head there. It's the thing, only wolves and dire wolves show up on the map as hostile entities. That's a bore. So, like... Oh, well, and creepers and skeletons and whatnot, but bears, tigers, any of those other big cats that are added by the, is it the Untamed Wilds mod as them? I'm not sure. All the other big cats, though, that are in this mod pack don't show up on the map. So you're not gonna... Excuse me. I don't know what that was. Oh, it might have been a bison. Oh. Or it's my sanity. Equally an option. What was I saying? Yeah, the big cats don't show up, so you can't really use the map to avoid them. Anyway, we are starting to get the weird graphics from being insane, so I'm going to stop the recording because I don't like how this looks on YouTube. I'll bring it back in if something happens. So it decided to start raining, which is preventing my sanity from going up. And now I'm just hearing whispering non-stop. Ooh. Okay, these plains areas might be nice. Got a river nearby. I'm going to need to stop and set up a campfire because even with the sun up, my sanity is not recovering. Our sanity is flickering. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, I really hate this visual effect that happens as you lose sanity. It is probably absolutely destroying my video quality. So, sorry about that. So, I've mentioned this before, but you can see next to my food and water bar, there's a skull, and it's got some icicles hanging from it. We're actually getting cold. When we stay next to the fire, the thirst bar turns red. We're getting hotter. Because the cook pot is still hot, even though the fire is now out. So we can actually make some primitive insulation, which we can then nap into very basic clothing. So to make the primitive insulation, we can either use a rawhide, which I do not have access to, or we can make one using plant fiber. Plant fiber requires plant mesh. Plant mesh we get with plant string, and we can get plant string by just using straw. So 8 plant string turns into 2 plant mesh, 2 plant mesh into 1 fiber. Got my other fiber there. We can do that, and that'll make us 1 primitive insulation. If we do this, we can now make armor. Or, well, it's not really armor, but it's clothing. Let's do a pair of pants. Let me put that on, and that should help keep us should help keep our body temperature a little warmer, so we don't get cold or too hot while traveling. But I've been using the river to travel downstream so that I'm not wandering through the forest, because there are wolves in this forest, and I don't feel like trying to deal with that right now. Alright, and off we go. Yeah, see, over here there are wolves. Oh, they're actually right by the water, but they should be asleep now, and there's wolves over there and over there. We want to aim for over here. And have not noticed anything dangerous in rivers. Knock on wood once again. Except for us. We need to make sure we remember to breathe. I should note, if you're having a hard time finding copper and tin and whatnot to actually start making tools, rivers are very good for that. Because not only can you pan this gravel and get a chance of getting dust or copper dust, but you can find these deposits. That's native silver. It's not very helpful for us, but there's also native copper and native tin that you can find in these rivers, and you can use that to start making your first tools. I was about to say this area looks good, and then I see the green sand. I guess if we cross here, we can keep looking for a nice area. But we're at least in a better temperature range. $8 degrees is definitely doable. Yeah, maybe just down here. Have to wait till the morning. I'm going to go check it out. So I doubled back just a little bit. We ended our last clip right over here. We're back up over here. And I think this is going to be a good place to set up. Since we have the river right down there, so we can have our ore processing and farms closer to the water over here. We can make use of the flowing water with Create and TerraFirmaCraft's water wheels, so we can have production. I heard a spider. Must be underneath me. Okay. And it's relatively flat, so terraforming up here shouldn't be all that difficult. We've got some clay over there. I think I saw some clay back here. What we're going to do is we're going to take these thatch blocks, turn them into straw, grab our large vessel, put that down, grab some clay. We're going to make the wattle and daub blocks from supplementary, or well, just the daub blocks. You only get 1 block per clay, so it's actually not that bad resource-wise. And yeah, we're just going to use this for our starter house. It shows a pickaxe up there. Okay, we can't pick it up with our hands. That's nice. Don't have to worry about needing to make a pick before I can actually do anything with it. But if you noticed, we do have some bismuthinite here. Just over there, I saw some malachite. So we actually have access to a bit of metals over here. If I can find some zinc, we can make bismuth bronze pretty quickly. I'm going to start building a house. It's going to be a shack for now, but it'll at least give us a place where we can hide at night. We'll be able to have a fire in here without burning everything else down. Can't make a door just yet. Have to make a copper saw for that. Although that might be my first tool I make, since I did pick up some copper. I've got enough here for 1 ingot. If I crush it, we can turn it into rocky chunks, but then we have to have a sluice to wash it all. And yeah, so we're going to be doing it the old-fashioned way, where we just put 20 units of copper into a small vessel, fire it, and then have a clay mold that we can use to make a saw. And that will at least get us started with being able to make wooden boards for building things like a door and a sluice and all the other useful materials, like a bucket, which will make getting water up here to our fire pit so much easier than having to bucket it up 1 clay jug at a time. Let's see, that should be quite a bit of thatch. Quite a bit of daub. Do a 5x5 for now. Oh, that's a 4x5. Good enough for now. This is not the final product, you know? I would love to use the raw plant as a roof, since it's a solid block, but when it dries into thatch, it's no longer solid, and that lets in, well, not that anything's really going to be climbing on our roof per se, but it's not secure. So don't necessarily want to do that. But yes, this should be, this is fireproof. So we can make a fire pit quickly, or fireplace. Right there. And it stops raining as soon as I start to fire. But there we go. Now we've got an ability to restore our sanity. And we've got a little bit of a shelter now. And yeah, nothing's going to burn down. I can use the silty dirt to turn it into, if I hit the right button there, coarse dirt, mud, Where's the mud? Mud's here, and then use the mud to make bricks, and I haven't quite decided everything I'm going to use to build, you know, the pallet. But for now, we're getting started. I'm not sure I want to put thatch blocks on the roof because they might catch fire from the pot. Yeah, that'd probably be a bad idea. But we can for now do that. And we are safe for the night. For the most part. So my sanity's still draining. I noticed sometimes when the cook pot's on, your sanity will continue to drain. Unless it's actually cooking something in the cook pot. So that might be something worth being aware of. But I think we're going to call it an end here for today. It is a little bit of a shorter video this week. We did have to restart again. And that slowed our progress down a bit. I think that's sanity. But yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. Next week, first thing I have to do is we need to start laying out some farm fields. We are in June. It's June 7th. And okay, it's early summer, but from what I remembered, we usually start in like April or May. So the fact that we started in June means that we've got one less month to prepare for winter. And we just spent the first quarter of that month just finding a place to live. In fact, I want to check something quickly. "30-day months." Okay. I wasn't sure how long each month was going to be. So 30-day months mean that we have to last nearly 360 days. Which, you know, should be interesting. Yeah, that's my sanity making noise. So I'm going to go light a fire and, yep, we're done here for today. That's not how you light a fire. So, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've all had a wonderful day. Thank you to my channel members for your support. And I'll see you next time. Later.